Hello there, new neighbour. I hope it's not a bad time. I saw you move in the other day, and I thought I'd come welcome you to the neighbourhood. Oh, you look surprised. Is it the bare chest? Sorry, we fuzzy folk are pretty relaxed about clothing round here. I didn't think... Oh, sorry, I didn't introduce myself, did I? I'm Theodore, though you can just call me Theo. Oh, why yes, we're neighbours. I live just across the road, the old cottage there. I can leave if you're busy unpacking, though I'd be happy to lend a paw if you need help with it. It'd be no trouble. Oh, now's a good time? Oh, why thank you, tea would be lovely. In fact, I brought something that would go perfectly with it. I whipped up a batch of these honey oatmeal cookies. They're still warm, and I thought I'd bring some over as a housewarming present. Or, well, I'm not sure if that's the right word for it. They might not keep the house warm, but they'll give you a warm feeling inside for sure. Ah, yes, of course. Lead the way. Can I sit down? Oh, thank you very much. So, have you moved far? Ah, that's quite a way. Though, not so many beast folk around that way, is there? I see why I took you by surprise now. No one told you this was bear country then? Oh, think nothing of it. I'm sure you didn't mean any offence. Hopefully you won't find it too much of a, a culture shock living here. Come to think of it, we're quite away from the city. Do you commute to work or work from home? Ah, I see. Well, so long as you can get a decent, a work-life balance. Always try to make time for things you enjoy. For me, that's mostly gardening, which is just as well. The old cottage garden needs a lot of work, though everything seems to grow well round here. So it has its benefits. I hardly ever need to buy vegetables or fruit, though I still like to go down to the farmer's market. They got some good produce down there. Me? Well, I grew up here. I think my house has been here longer than the road itself, or at least the tarmac. When my grandparents lived here, it was just a dirt track through a field. Oh yes, it's the family home. It's not a huge place, but we always got by. We had the bare necessities at least. It's just me now there though. If anything, it feels a bit empty. Oh no, it's all right. My parents have just moved to a retirement village, the home for retired bears. Lovely place just outside of town, founded by a nice old bear called Lucy. My brothers and sisters are well set up in their own homes. They got families of their own to take care of. So I took it on myself to sell my little place in town and bought the cottage off my folks so it could stay in the family. The place needs some work done. I think they had a hard time with it as they got older. I wish they'd told me, but you know how stubborn old folks can get. I'm gradually getting on top of it though. More expensive than I'd expected, but I'm determined to get it done, even if I have to do it all with me bare hands. I am a carpenter by trade, you see. No job too big or small, but I make sure it's done just right. Oh, I take me tea black with a little bit of honey in it, if that's all right. Ah, thanks very much. Oh, it's a bit too hot. I'll just let it cool down a little. Oh no, there's no Mrs. Brown, or Mr. Brown for that matter. I suppose I just never met the right bear. Though I'm not saying no to, a non-bear either, but you know what I mean. I just never met anyone who it clicked with, The house does feel a bit empty sometimes, but I'm not exactly lonely. I got friends and family to brighten my life. And I might not have cubs of my own, but it's nice being an uncle. I get to see me siblings' cubs in small doses and without the sleepless nights. But as you were saying. Well, I moved out when I was younger, but I visited my parents fairly often. So I've seen how this village has changed in my absence. It's certainly grown a fair bit, but I suppose that's to be expected. There are still a few familiar faces around though, and the woodland's a protected area, so at least that hasn't all been cleared. The local warden Loyal is a nice fellow. If you happen to see a tall, dark, handsome wolver around, that's probably him. He pops in from time to time. He brought me some firewood when I was struggling a bit. Oh, yes, you know, a wolver, a wolf man. There's a fair few beast folk around here. Most have been here generations, like the Fawn family who own the local farm, or Mr. and Mrs. Palace down the road. They may look a bit grumpy, but they're good people. I think their son has some fancied government job in the city now. I've heard there's even an ancient dragon living in a cave somewhere around here. Don't worry though, from what I heard he's a kindly old soul. Well, unless you happen to be a grass-eating wild animal with hooves at least. Well, of course there's humans here too, and dwarves among others. All sorts of folk who've settled here one time or another. I like to think it's a very inclusive community we've got here. Oh yes, I knew the previous owners of this house. Nice family, the Blakes. They were looking for a bigger place though. It was getting a bit too cramped here with only the 2 bedrooms. The girls needed their own space, and I think their mother would quite like to have a workshop for her hobbies, you know, pottery and such. Not to be presumptive, but I hope we can be just as friendly neighbours. Though, don't let me impose. If you prefer your privacy, that's fair enough. The offer's there, though. Ah, that's just right. You do make a lovely cup of tea, if I may say so. Do try a biscuit. I brought 'em over for you, after all. Do you like 'em? I thought they came out well. Not too soft, not too crunchy, not too sweet, and not too salty. And just right to dunk in tea, even if I do say so myself. And this tea is just right to dunk 'em in too. Lovely. So how about you? What brings you out here? Ah, yes, the house prices certainly are better than the city. I suppose because of it being a tad isolated out here. Oh, how do you mean? Aren't there lots more people in the city? Oh, I suppose that does sound isolating. I'm used to how it is out here in the country. Growing up here, everybody knew everybody else pretty much. No one was really a stranger. In fact, I can think of plenty of times our neighbours helped us when we needed it, or my parents were over at a neighbour's house helping them. It was like having an extended family, even if we were all different species. Seems rather odd for people to all be living next to each other and never even talk. So is it just you here then? Well, if you need anything, don't hesitate to knock on my door, even if it's just someone to talk to. I do hope you find it friendlier here. Here's to not feeling so isolated. I certainly hope to see more of you myself. Don't be a stranger, eh? Anyway, how's the move going so far? Did you have much from the old place? Ah, I suppose moving from a small apartment to a house would mean lacking a few things. Still, really, do ask if you need any help with moving furniture or anything like that. I wouldn't want you to put your back out doing it all by yourself. Well, of course I mean it when I said it's no trouble. I don't see it as a bother. There's plenty of times in my life I've needed help from others. I can say I'd be in a worse place without it. Pass it forward, ain't that the saying? Besides, feels good to help. Oh, now's as good a time as any. I'm already here after all. Well then, I'd be happy to. Things are always more bearable when you've got a little help. You just tell me what needs lifting and I'll be on it. Ah, good point. We shouldn't let this tea get too cold. Let's finish up this lovely tea, then we can get started. Fancy another cookie?